I'm Paul Fletcher. I'm the Super 7 league director and coordinator. BRSC has done this league for several years. Last year, of course, because of COVID, we couldn't. The year before, um, it was in Indy because we hosted regionals, and it was real small because Indy wasn't an ideal site. So this summer, we're back at Burbank, and we've got a lot more interest, especially in the middle school league, um, and boys and girls. Traditionally, it was heavy with high school boys, and in an effort to try to grow and deepen it. So y'all know we do 7 games, and the first weekend of June is the target start date. I've had some coaches and teams ask for an extra week to get their teams going because the final week of May and exams and some tryouts for some of the BRC teams, older teams, are around that first week. It's not a problem. I can do one extra week. We got plenty of playing dates. Most of the time we do Saturdays mornings and Tuesdays. Thursday is like a rain out makeup. Sunday's a rain out makeup if Saturday should rain out for some reason. The reason for Saturday morning was actually coach driven. Sunday afternoons, we used to have a ton of showers and thunderstorms and always get rainouts. When we moved to Saturday morning, that solved it. Now, if you have a team that has any special requests, they're at a camp for a week, you're missing too many players, you can let me know what week or days those are, and I could schedule around that. That happens a lot where some of the high school teams will be off at camps. You are allowed guest players during the summer, um, and those guest players just have to be registered in the league. Uh, and what we don't want to happen is a varsity, like Division 1 player, guest playing down into a Division 2 or 3. What I see happen sometimes is a ninth grader who's really good plays up on a varsity team. And if that ninth grader is a guest player on, say, a younger team, that's okay. But we don't want seniors who might be all district, all metro, playing down in a JV division. And that's the intent of that rule. The other thing, once you enter your roster, we have it at 14. And I think that's a good number because you're going to be missing 3 to 5 players any given weekend due to vacations. 14 is the limit. Could you go over a couple? Yes. But nobody on that roster who's not on that roster could play in the tournament. So when we get to the tournament in July, if that player is not on the roster, and you could add some, the first few weeks of the summer to your roster, but we can't just have someone join up for the tournament. And that's happened before. So I'll maintain the rosters, update them as you give me any new names that might be adding on. For guest players, though, you could use guest players from any team. We really don't want any forfeits. It's competitive, but we want the kids playing, fast-paced, not forfeiting games. So if you need to pick up 2-3 guest players and make sure you've got enough to play that weekend, you can do that as well. Some players will actually just hang around the fields after their games in case teams might need them. Any questions so far on what I've kind of got thrown out there to y'all? All right, a couple things on the rules to highlight on the rules here. Some of the big ticket items. There's a 3-line violation that happens if a defender would clear the ball from inside their 18 and just slam it, which happens, all the way to the other team's 18 untouched. So if it crosses their own 18, the midfield, and the other team's 18, that's called a 3-line violation, and it immediately turns into an indirect kick for the opposing team. So if your team would kick it, goes 3 lines, and it could be a keeper punt or throw that goes 3 lines. It immediately is a indirect kick for the opposing team. And they'll set that ball up kind of in line with where the violation happened. Other big ticket item here is there's no offsides. Players, some teams, strategy wise, they'll set up a striker right in front of a keeper, kind of waste a player during the game, but tactics, there are no offsides in 7v7. Um, Flying subs, they call it, kind of like in hockey. Um, you could sub during play, provided one player is off before the other player steps on. Now, some of your referees will manage a game slightly different than that, but you don't have to stop the game in order to sub. So just to remember, that's another difference. That there's only going to be one referee in the middle, and we play 30-minute halves. Very fast, usually very hot, and I would say a roster of 12 is very appropriate for that. Some other questions I've had was like the team entry fee. It's $425 per team, not per player. And usually the teams will divide it up amongst the roster size. So if you have 12, 14 players, divide it up. In my case, when I've used it, I've charged a little bit extra for a jersey. You don't have to do that, but they do have to have a number for the summer. And I'll go to Third Coast and they'll put numbers on it, maybe a name in the back of it, and include that in a player parent fee. Some of them include extra for a coach to help them during the summer. It's all how you want to manage the team. But we do need an adult on the sidelines. It can't be just all players, even though they're 17, 18 years old. We do need one adult who's in charge of the team as a coach or manager for those games. Questions on the fees, rules at all?
I have a question for the winter middle school league. For the COVID, they had each team on different sides of the sideline. Is that going to remain, or is it going to be back to normal?
I think good question. And we've had this discussion last week on our Zoom call for BRSC, that now that the governor has now relaxed the masks, and since we're outdoors, that honestly we're planning to return as soon as the state cups are over. The plan is to return to players on one side, parents on the other. And as a coach and players, I think now it's time. The mixing of parents and players on the same sideline, I don't think is real healthy sometimes, with just the competitive nature of the game. And sometimes there'll be parents checking in on your halftime talk with the team. And not that I like transparency, but sometimes I think it goes a little further. So I'm planning on it. Louis and Marvin have talked that after state cups, moving forward, we would have teams on one side, parents on the other. Any other questions there? So as far as uniforms go, all you need is a jersey or a shirt, t-shirt with numbers on the back. I've seen some teams get white t-shirts and spray paint the numbers on. All you got to do is have a number. And then they'll have a roster for the referees to start the match. There's no player passes or anything, and I don't know that middle school use player passes, but we'll have a paper roster. Another question I had was about the $10 LSA fee. If your players played BRC, played Ascension Flight, played PARDS, any LSA league, they've got insurance in the past year. So if they played middle school, they played rec, they played club in the last year, they're covered by LSA insurance. If they haven't played in any LSA league, then they don't have insurance. And that's where that $10 additional fee comes in. We have to collect that and then send it on to LSA to make sure that everybody is insured that's in the league. Some folks had questions about that one. So like in particular, if someone played with PARDS in their rec program or club program or Ascension Flight, they're already registered with LSA, so there's no extra $10 fee there. It's only players who are not registered in a calendar year from this summer. Questions for that one? Because we're going to have Angie Mitchell will be putting in the names for me at the BRSC office when I submit the rosters, and she'll be able to pull up by birth date and name if that player is indeed registered or not. Okay, and the other thing would be scoring for each game. So just so you kind of know, I try to division them where ideally you would have 8 teams in a division. You play everybody just once. Reality is sometimes you have 4 or 5 in a division and you might play a team twice. In the past, I've built the schedule for most of June, 2 to 3 weeks. And Division 1 is mostly varsity teams. Division 2 is mostly JV teams. Division 3 is incoming freshmen, some of your younger teams in high school. In middle school, the ideal is a 7th, 8th grade league division and a 5th, 6th. We don't have really any, not many at all, interest coming to us under 5th grade. So players going into 5th for a 5th, 6th grade would be the youngest middle school group that we're looking at. Once I get all of the team entries in, then I can say, all right, this is the break on how we're delivering the summer sessions. And then if scores become real lopsided, where I need to move a team up a division or down, I can do that during the season. I don't have to wait till the end. So I really like those scores coming into me, thinking about doing a Google Docs live and maintaining scores so I can get an idea of, and y'all will let me know if they're unfair matchups. I want them as balanced as we can.
For the middle school, just and maybe for all of them, when you say, I think you said you're good with players going into 5th grade, being in that bottom division.
Right, they would be classified 5th graders. So 5th and 6th would be the grades they're going into.
Okay.
And then, based on you let me know what your roster looks like. If it's heavy 6th, heavy 5th combo, and then sometimes we'll mix with maybe a weak 7th grade team and a strong 5th, 6th, how those matchups look during the season. Any other questions on this? And I apologize again for the late start. It's totally on me, and I'll probably regroup and maybe do another one as I get more entries coming in and give you more info on the type of divisions we're looking at. I do have a pool of players, probably about a dozen right now, that are looking for teams or placement because their school doesn't have a team. And I told them as I start getting entries and looking at roster sizes, if I can match them up with a team that needs players, I'll do so.
What's the size of the field they play on?
Oh, good question there. It's a full-size soccer field cut in half. And there's probably, so if you look at the distance across the field, roughly, I think Burbanks are 110 by 80. So we keep the same width. The width and we usually use, because not all the Burbank fields are the same size, but if you figure fields 11, 12, 10, 11, and 12, and it's really the 9v9 size fields that we use.
Okay, yeah,
In the same goals.
thanks.
They turn into 7v7 though for the summer on the same size field.
And all the middle school and high school both with the 24-foot goals.
High school, middle school all have the same 9v9 goal. So it's not the full 24. Those, if you know that those goals are a little shorter and a little narrower, they go across the field. So
Yeah.
we do not use the large goals. It is actually the 9v9 size goals.
Okay.
And then practicing, once we get the field set up, y'all will get practice time out there if you need. Some opt to stay at their school and practice. It's not mandatory that you practice at Burbank, but you would have access for practice time at Burbank there. And that would be starting at the end of May, once all recs wrapped up, to get all those fields laid out. And again, I'm very likely, based on the feedback I'm getting, maybe hold off a week to start to give everybody a chance to have another practice week and get their teams together practicing. And we have several playing dates, so it's not a problem as far as getting the 7 games in between Saturday and Tuesday, and a Thursday if we need. Any questions there? From beginning to end, you can go back and ask any questions if y'all like about that. All right, what I'll do is, again, I'm gonna keep replying to your emails, very likely schedule another one maybe in the next week, as I get more information, and we'll post it, email it, and then do a quick Zoom just to explain or clarify anything that we got going. All right. Well, appreciate y'all coming on. My apologies for being late, and I'll connect with anybody that missed it tonight.